enforcement partners of federal agencies, including the Chippewa County Sheriff's Office and Prosecutor's Office, as well as the U.S. Attorney's Office, the men and women of the FBI who acted quickly to prevent Mr. Pietila from following through on his threats. I know our number one priority is prevention and disruption to protect the community. And I urge the community as well, because a lot of things do go underreported as well, to report this. You can report this to our law enforcement, local law enforcement, the FBI. We also have the one area called FBI, but also FBI.gov. We also have many offices throughout the U.S. you can report this to as well. And I want to thank, especially thank the community as well, because in this instance, it was reported to us, received the information. This is a great example how law enforcement, both federal and local partners, work really well together to be able to, we identified this individual, Mr. Pietila, very quickly. We prevented him right away. We prevented anything from him following through on those actions. We disrupted him. We were able to arrest him in a very short period of time. Again, I want to thank you, everybody, as well. Thank you so much.
Can you talk to me about the decision to drop counts 1 and 3 for the guilty plea count 2?
Yeah, so in this case, we were able to reach a plea agreement. As we said today, Seann Pietila pled guilty to count 2. Count 1 was another similar charge on the same statute. Count 3 was different. It involved threatening communications where there's a threat to kill or harm using fire or explosives. I can say in this case that we anticipate the recommended sentencing guidelines range, which a judge will use for every sentencing of this kind. We anticipate that it will be the same regardless of us making that move. And for us, it gives us, it gives everybody really the certainty of what's going to happen here, and us the certainty of a conviction.
Could you tell us where the initial tip that led to this case kind of stemmed from? Where did you guys find that information or obtain those messages?
That investigation continues to be ongoing, and that's not something that I can speak to right now. Certainly, as Mr. Ellis mentioned, we get communications from any number of places, and we always welcome that information to help us protect people in the public.
And this case obviously clearly stemmed from threats of anti-Semitism, but as you mentioned, we're in this moment where we're also seeing rise in Islamophobic threats as well. To that point, you mentioned some numbers when it comes to anti-Semitic threats. Can you kind of elaborate on the extent to which we're also seeing a rise in Islamophobic threats as well?
Yeah, I mentioned the specific statistics about the rise in anti-Semitism just because it was the single biggest leap in the FBI crime stats for last year. I don't have specific stats, but certainly we are seeing an increase in threats based on Islamophobia, based on an anti-Arab bias as well. And, my job here in the Western District of Michigan, working with many of our partners, especially the FBI, is to just protect people from all aspects of life. And so, we're going to take every threat seriously. We're going to track it down, and we encourage the public, if they're experiencing anything that feels like a hate incident, to please let us know. It really is important that we know about that. And I can guarantee you that every one of those reports gets tracked down.
Last question. Yeah, I was curious if there was anything you could share. Are you in contact? I know it's out of the country, but are you in contact with the law enforcement agencies? How's that working?
I'm actually not sure of the current status of that. I'm happy to follow up on that if you'd like, but I'm not sure.
I would love to know if you guys are able to get that information. I understand there's probably some barriers there with it.
Yeah, it would be tough to share that information because it is foreign information, but I can see what we can find out, how much we can actually share.
Thank you,
Right.
everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Is there anything else you guys want to add just about how you're feeling about this case? I feel like it's a lot of times we see these instances and it's after the fact, lives have been taken, people have been injured. I think it's a little more rare that we see these things stopped before we started. Can you talk to me about that, how you're feeling now that he's pled guilty this morning?
I feel really good about where we stand right now. As you just mentioned, it can be difficult to appreciate when you prevent something from happening. Everybody sees when some atrocity happens, they see how awful it is. And yet when you prevent something from happening or potentially happening, it can be harder to appreciate what didn't happen. And this is exactly where we want to be. We want to be disrupting and preventing and not responding to any kind of atrocity. And so again, like the law enforcement system worked exactly like it did. But I will say we're on alert. We're watching. We are seeing a spike in these cases. We have another case we're prosecuting against defendant Nathan Whedon that involved painting anti-Semitic symbols on synagogue Temple Jacob up in Hancock, Michigan. And we're staying alert, and we're in close communication with leaders of many of the affected communities as well, because we want them to know that we're paying attention and we care.
Right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Tonight.